This band? I like this band. I wrote it down so I don't forget who they are. Oh, I remember. Fucking Slash! We're back again with one of my favorite people in the scene, a sick thrasher from the band Dead or Alive. You gotta be dead if you don't know who this band is, because this band's the hottest thrash band out there right now. We're here with the mighty Count Scapula. We got our Dead or Alive shirts on. We're representing. I got to see this maniac at the New England Death Metal Fun Time Bonanza. I'm still haunted by it. I see things come from the grave. I jump in the grave. I hang out with people in the grave. Here we are back for another episode. Brother, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Doing so great, man. It's great to be here with you again. Yeah, I am Count Scapula from Dead Alive, the skeletal corpse paint wearing frontman of the horror thrash metal band out of Nashville. Yeah. Excited to be here.
Sick. And the reason he said again is because it's a madman he's dealing with. There may have been some technical difficulties. This may be our 15th time filming. Who knows? We've lost count at this time. We've lost count. I'm talking to the count. There's a good dad joke for everybody. Tell us about Dead Alive. How did it get started? Why should we be listening to you? Tough questions.
All right, so Dead Alive is my metal brainchild that I started about 10 years ago in 2015. I was playing in a rock band with some friends, and I was, I'm a metalhead. I'm like, I want to play thrash metal. I want to play fast riffs. I want to, bang my head and play real metal music. So me and one of the other guys from that band, who is known as Man Thing in my band, we started writing some old school thrash riffs together, and then I had this idea for a band of metal monsters, kind of like Gwar, but more comic booky, and be a little bit more like Universal horror with spooky rather than Texas Chainsaw Massacre slasher kind of stuff. So I wrote this concept album about skeletons called Rise of the Skeleton Army.
Sick.
And then 2017, me and Man Thing, we wrote down a bunch of demos, and we put it on SoundCloud and stuff. And then we kind of shelved it for a while just because it wasn't the right time for us. He had life stuff that he had to do. I was in college, and then 2020, the pandemic hit. I was taking a break from college. I met some other musicians. We started jamming out in this hot ass storage unit.
Crazy.
And with those guys, initially I wasn't going to bring my skeleton idea to them, but there was no creative direction after jamming for 6 months.
Wow.
And every time I would grab a guitar and play my riffs, they'd be like, "Oh, I love that. Let's do that." And I was like, "Well, this is my baby, and I don't want to it's got to be done right."
Yep.
So we hit the studio. I was the only one prepared for the studio. The guys I had at that time were not the right fit for Dead Alive. Our drummer was more of a nu metal hip hop kind of drummer, so I had to teach him how to do thrash beats, and his creativity was fighting him. He's a great drummer, a good guy, but thrash metal was just not his thing.
Yep.
And then the other guys, I don't know if it was work or whatnot. I recorded all the guitars, all the bass, all the vocals. And I was like, hey, I can't shred. I need someone that can shred. Here are the songs. Here are the pieces that you're going to be soloing over. Can you have something prepared for the studio? And they didn't have anything prepared. And so the solos on that album were done day of. And then we released the album in 2021. And then pretty much immediately go on hiatus. I had to go back and finish college. The other guys had life stuff, and so Dead Alive was shelved for a couple more years. Beginning of 2023, January 3rd, I had just finished college, and I was had ended recently ended a long-term relationship. Yep. And I was in really bad depression, and so I had nothing really going on. I had my day job, which I love, but I was just, had nothing going on, right?
Yeah.
I get an email to the band, email, and it's from a booking agent saying, hey, there's this thrash metal band from Lansing, Michigan called Tyrant coming down to Nashville to play a show. Do you guys want to hop on the bill? And I'm like sitting there, like, you know, dazed out of my mind and like wallowing in depression.
Yeah.
And I see the email and be like, oh yes. I
Sick.
saw it as like my grab the sword moment. It's like it's time to do this. And I called Man Thing back to be like, hey, we finished the album that we started together. Let's start playing shows. And so he jumped back on. As far as like the other like musicians, I didn't call the other guys back because they were either busy or in the drummer situation was just not the right fit.
Yeah.
So I got all my friend favors I cashed in. I was like, hey, buddies that we like started, like we played in that first band together like years ago, can you help me like get through these like this first show? So it was kind of like a getting the band back together kind of story. We play that first show, and then we also played like a song from that old band to like close out the set to kind of like bookmark the end of that era and the start of the era of Dead Alive. And then I just started booking more and more shows, and kept playing. And over time, you know, the fill-ins were like, you know, we enjoyed, you know, playing with you, but we know we have our own like lives and stuff we do. We're not like dedicated to this, but by, you know, going out to shows and playing shows, I met like so many amazing musicians that, you know, see those early like Dead Alive shows and they say like, there's something here and I like you, I like what you're doing, I'd be interested in playing. So we got our first bassist, and then he was known as Deadman Walkin', which is like this really cool like zombie with like Evil Dead makeup.
Sick.
And then we got our first like official drummer, and he was from like another band. He's so amazing. His stage name is Deadbeat.
Nice.
But he's in a couple other bands. He was in a band called Dystopian for a minute, and then now he's in my band. He's in a band called Hive Mind Blunt Rotation, where he plays guitar and he sings. This guy can do it all.
So sick.
He's so talented. And then he's in this other band on drums called Outpost, and that's one of the other like we call it like the Thrashville 4 because there's like 4 main like thrash bands out of Nashville. And so he's in that band as well, playing drums. And then our bassist left after a while because he wanted to go marry his girlfriend. And so then I started on vocals, then I went to guitar, and then after our bassist left, I went to bass, and I got another guitarist, a guy named Jared Underwood. He plays the character Dreadward the Vampire, and he's still in the band today. And then more recently, we had another changing of the guard. My long-term music partner, Man Thing, Connor. He also decided it was his time, and so he stepped down. Now we have another new monster in our band. He's called the Phantom.
Sick.
And he's from another of the Thrashville like metal bands called Phantom. So that's kind of like that in connecting joke there.
Nice.
He's a Phantom. So that's like the story, and then of course among that story, we also released a new album, The Madness of Dr. Ludwig von Brain Matter, this last October, and that's been doing great. We've gotten a little bit more like exposure from that, and it's been going good. We're doing the band thing.
It's so sick, and I got to see Dead Alive live. Not dead. They were alive when I saw them. Some of the metal moms in the venue looked a little dead. They can freshen up a little bit. You know, I like them a little perky. I like the big personalities. But what are you going to do sometimes? I saw Dead Alive, and let me tell you, that stage show is next level. It's sick. The count usually is in sick corpse make. It's fucking badass. The whole band, it's Alice Cooper and fucking Slayer together, and you get up there, and this guy doesn't miss a beat. You're talking to him in fucking character. You think you're talking to a fucking zombie from Return of the Living Dead. You don't know what's going on. And you're sitting there like, is he going to break this character up there? I'm starting to get freaked out a little bit. They had Frankenstein stuff, electricity hitting, debuting new songs, and let me tell you, he gave 1,000,000%. He got off that stage. This dude was on his last legs. This dude gave everything he had up there, and it was sick to see, traveling from Tennessee, I believe. Tennessee.
Yep, Tennessee.
Tennessee, the one time, now I'm going to be on a plane a lot this year. I've only been on a plane once. I watched too many Twilight Zones with the gremlin on the wing. Scared me as a kid, but I'm getting over that now. And that was the only place I've been on a plane is Nashville. And these guys came from Nashville all the way up to Maine for the New England Death Metal Bonanza. Killed it. You can only imagine when you're a newer band making all that shit happen, putting all the things together, getting all the pieces, and you guys did it and you pulled it off and it was crazy. How did that stage show get to this state? Guys, I'm telling you, this stage show, as they get bigger, watch this fucking guy because he pulls out everything and it is full in character. You get a movie and a metal show all in one, for sure.
So yeah, the stage show, I mean, it all starts with like humble beginnings, right? It's like,
Yep.
What can we do? And at the very minimum, I can, like, wear my costume, right?
Yeah.
And the character of Count Scapula, that is like when I'm on stage, I'm Count Scapula.
Sick.
That's why. I mean, I still like introduce myself like when I'm at shows and I'm
Yep.
in the makeup as the Count. Just to kind of keep that going. But when I get off stage, I'm a little bit more personable, a little bit more yada yada. But when I'm on stage, it's just all about like the creep and the metal and like
Sick.
rocking out. And so over time, we've kind of like evolved it as we've gotten like the permanent band members, and they have like costumes. We've added like theatrical moments of like banter and interaction between me and the other characters. Banter between me and the audience and the stage.
Yep.
And then also just figuring out what we can dress up the stage with that can fit in the van or the trailer that we hauled up to New England. And pretty much it's really simple right now. It's just like gravestones, some skulls, a skeleton, and then we're all in costume. And it's like if we have sometimes we bring a fog machine out.
Sick.
Sometimes so we played this one show last year. Right before the New England Death Metal Funtime Bonanza, and it was like this Battle of the Bands kind of thing. So we're going all out.
Nice.
Full stage dressing.
Yep.
Just pulling out all the stops, and like one of the things for that competition was like audience immersion, right? And so where it's like we're interfacing with the audience more than just like playing the music on the stage, right? So our idea for that was I have this like old like wooden coffin kind of things, like Wild West iconic coffin shape, right? Dracula coffin. And so I had my guys carry me to the edge of the stage.
Sick.
For that show. They when we have like the Undertaker theme and like other like audio cues happening during that time. The other guys go on the stage and they open with our with the intro track Rise, which is like this instrumental bit, and we play like a shortened version of that just because it's a long song. So let's get to the point.
Yep.
So they start with the ambiance of this intro track, and I rise out of the coffin and I take to the stage, and then we like go into our set. We had a few hiccups with that because we were the first band and we did our sound check. We were like everything's great, everything's fine.
Yep.
Put it away. They sound checked another band, and apparently they thought the equipment was being shared, and so they unplugged the power supply from my amp and they plugged into his. Didn't tell me, so when we were on stage, it's like I'm playing my thing and nothing's coming out. I'm like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And so I go and like leave to like check on it, and the other guys like stop. I go and at that time the guy from that band, he also realized, he rushed around to like change it for me, and he felt so bad. And so then I go over to my drummers, like, let's start right at the verse and keep going. We did not win that Battle of the Bands, unfortunately. But it's a story, It's interesting. We got like the clips from that on our YouTube channel. It's not like the full performance. We kind of turned into like a pseudo like performance music video for our song Army of Darkness.
Nice.
And then what we do have is we have the entire performance of the New England Death Metal Funtime Bonanza.
So sick.
Last year. That was great. We have like a two like iPhone kind of like
so sick.
So we have like slightly different angles. But yeah, the New England Death Metal Funtime Bonanza was so fun. It was about a 24-hour drive for us to get there.
Damn.
Just because we hit traffic going through, I think it was like Pennsylvania or something.
Yep.
And then it was like 18 hours back, and it was the first time we ever left Nashville, and my parents helped me like get a trailer to like haul our gear. We took our drummers like trucked all the way up there, so it was a little cramped, but you know, you got to do what you got to do to like make these things work, and it was so much fun. It was like I got to meet you. When I was like first starting to start up the social media game, is one of the questions you kind of have to think about as a band is like, who's your target demographic? And then I ran into you, and I was like, this guy is my target demographic. I see all this like that pops on your wall and all the horror movie stuff, all the like the metal stuff, the misfits, and like if I move my camera like over in that direction, I got like a similar like setup with all like my movies and DVD stuff, and vinyl and all that. And it's like, yeah, this is the guy that, you know, like I'm trying to make the show for. Right? That you're like my target demographic. And so you were so nice to like meet in person. You were super fun.
Too nice,
Being like the final girls are really cool. So I hung out with some of the other guys from the band Bonginator for what's their name? They did the metal trivia and mutilation. Yeah.
Yeah, she does it in
like second place.
Oh,
we got second place in the metal trivia. I like specialize in like the black metal stuff.
Yeah.
The other Bonginator guys were like slam and death metal. And so we're like a good team, and that was fun. But yeah, doing the death metal fun time bonanza. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, go get your tickets to the
go get your tickets up there, guys. The Madman's gonna be doing some special stuff up there this year too, because I'm a performer. I gotta be heard. People need to see me all the time. We got some big plans up there this year, and that was great, and you were super cool, and it was cool to talk to you because, hey, I hadn't gotten out a lot in a while to that thing. I'm out nonstop now. That thing, like, triggered me. It brought me back to life. I was no longer dead. I was dead alive. I was a walking corpse.
You're dead alive, yeah.
So it was such a good time.
No Rest in Peace, which is all about like you don't give up, you got to keep going.
This guy right here, let me tell you, is one of the most positive people you'll ever meet. I talked to you at the Bonanza. You were super chill, super cool. You knew right away. You know who the real ones are. Unfortunately, in the scene, you're gonna meet nice people. You're gonna meet people that aren't nice, and you got to weed through them. Do your thing. Stay to yourself. Bond with the good ones. Me and him talked forever. Watch him go upstage and kill it. We got all the same interests, all the same horror movies, Alice Cooper, same thrash metal bands. And he's right. If you guys are into stuff, if you're into those fun fucking movies, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, Dead Alive, all these great fun fucking, I love horror comedy. We had talked about this multiple times. We both love horror comedy. And if you love thrash bands and the Misfits and all this shit and corpse paint, this is your band. This is a band you're going to be talking about. The way a lot of people, even though different style of music, but the Misfits has that horror vibe, right? And has that, it's just gained that cult that's going to be Dead Alive, guys. You get on this train now. He just keeps going forward. There's lots of struggles when you're a newer band, when you're balancing work. You're talking about the growing pains. I know it as well. Every time I do a new media platform, it's a whole, you just start from scratch. Everything's a disaster until it all just clicks. And that's the point. That's great advice for everybody is you don't, it sounds cliched, but it's not. You cannot give up. Imagine if you're on the way to, to the Bonanza, and like the traffic, this is crazy. We're driving all, and there are people that would just, we see it. They bail, they cancel. They turn around. How do you keep, this is the most, this guy, I was having a meltdown, and this guy's like, fucking relax. He's like, be like a duck. Let the water roll off your fucking... And it hit me. It hit me like an epiphany. I was like, it came from the fucking heavens. It was like a gaggle. It was a stable of metal moms surrounded me, and they were ready to play. That was the feeling of excitement I got. I came back from the dead. How do you keep that through all the adversity and through regular life and balancing your dreams and knowing it doesn't happen overnight?
It's really hard, and a big part of it is just like organization and figuring out what your what your responsibilities are. So, and I'm very like upfront about this with like everyone in my bands. Like, hey, like my drummer, for instance, he's in college, right? I'm like, don't let anything that I'm trying to do with Dead Alive get in the way of you doing well on your studies, because I went to college. I think college is an important resource. I have regrets about like certain things of college. Like I initially went for like computer science, and it took me 4 years to realize that that's not what I wanted.
Right.
So like but like figuring out your responsibilities, and it's like, you know, everyone needs to pay your bills and eat food and sleep. That's number one, right? So I try to, when it comes to like band practice and stuff, it's like, okay, we have 1 day a week that we meet up, we do our set list, we practice, maybe we try writing some more stuff, and you know, whatever practice everyone else can do over the weekend, just to kind of like, you know, keep up with soloing, know what the material is, or like whatever we're writing on, you know, that it's not like pressure on them, right? Everything will happen when it happens, when there's time. Like if there's like our drummer has like exams and stuff, he has to do the exams. It's very important. Everyone needs to be able to pay the bills, and you know, so work is important, and they shouldn't have to miss too much work for this. But then when it comes to like the band stuff, I mean, as like the kind of creative lead and like the figurehead, and we don't have management. The label that we're on is my own label, so
Yep.
just I'm doing everything myself. So it's a lot of organization of what is the plan for, like, not just this year, but like what's the plan for next year and the year after that and the year after that. What is the time frame that all these things need to happen for us to hit our goals? And when it comes to like playing shows, like, you know, we started playing at least once a month in Nashville, and that's just mostly the trial period of, let's get the show tight, let's
Right.
you know, let people know that we're here, we're and what we're doing, getting those initial fans from the scene. But now we're starting to pull back from like like playing all the time in Nashville. It's more of a, hey, where the big shows happening
Right.
for Nashville, or is there a touring band coming through that we can play with
Yep.
to kind of like, you know, help that, just because like we don't want to dilute ourselves locally. And
True.
now that we have the resources to go play out of state, we're just trying to like hit more of those out of state or out of local areas, because like Tennessee is really long. It's like, you know, there's 3 sections of it, and so it's
Yep.
like, okay, let's go try and play these other sections. And we just announced our brand new tour, the New England, the Thrashville Tear Tour. I almost said the New England.
I know, we talk about it so much. Yeah, they're going on tour, baby. Thrashville. Thrashville.
And so like all of that is also like just so much planning and organization.
Yeah.
And the other thing that sucks is time. You there's so much time that you have to wait for.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, I figured out my routing, I figure out where I want to go, and then you get all like a list of venues, and then you email them, then you have to wait, and then you wait for a couple weeks for a reply. Maybe you do a follow-up, but you, like, if you don't hear anything back, then you gotta find the next place and go contact the next place, and you know, keep chipping at it. And it's a big time like sink of like all the planning and organization, but in between the waiting periods of the things of like one task you're doing, you could do another thing, or write something, or just keep busy to keep pushing the project forward. Social media, like
Yep.
figuring out what to post for social media and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's some, you know, guys, like everything takes time with this. Whether you're in a band, whether you're an influencer, whatever you're doing, nothing's happening overnight. You're going to have a lot of rejections. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to have that time where you send out, did we get into this show? Did we not get into this show? And it's a lot on your brain, and you're wondering, like, hey, am I doing something wrong? What could I have done? Why isn't this And a lot of it's just the business of this. The business is people get back to you when they want to. Some people are nice. Some people are chill. Some people will help you out. And other people are just dicks, guys. You got to understand, a lot of people are like your jank-ass dads. They're just dicks. There's nothing you can do about it. And you got to just keep pushing forward, and you just stay relentless. The other thing is, you've got to put in the work and make sure you're putting out a quality product, just as you're doing. And expect, like you're saying, you're doing the... I've talked to bigger bands and things like that about, you know, their endorsements, and they'll say even they have to reach out for endorsements. They'll reach out to certain places. It's just no one's tapping, unless you're Metallica, right? No one's fucking just tapping you on the shoulder and giving you everything you want. You got to put in that effort, and it never stops. And you're putting in that effort. Here he is. He's going like, I'm sending out to these fucking venues. Sometimes they get back. Sometimes they don't. You don't know what's going on. He's got to plan a tour around it. Organization is so key to everything. It's so key, and just meeting you in person, you can tell. You can see how your brain works. You can tell that you have everything going on at once, because we'd be having conversations and you were talking about stuff that was going to be happening, and that's the way it should be. Your mind is always on your baby. You're Dead Alive. Dead Alive, by the way, as we talked about last time, fantastic movie. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. It's so fun. Like, Peter Jackson, he's like known for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize his history.
Yeah.
In just ridiculous, over-the-top splatter horror.
Yep.
And like horror comedies. Like Dead Alive is to me his magnum opus.
So good.
He had a couple things before that called like Bad Taste. And
Bad
Meet the
Taste.
Feebles. I cannot finish Meet the Feebles. That grosses me out just a little bit too much.
That's a rough one.
But like to me that like when I look at like Dead Alive and how I want Dead Alive to like get to, I would love to get Dead Alive at a place where I could be like, this is a quality like like product like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But right now we're at Dead Alive.
Right.
Or like Meet the Feebles.
Yeah,
or, like,
that
the
makes a good
early
analogy.
Stuff which is like it's like there's time for us to improve, and there's a bunch of stuff that I want to do. I'd love to be as big as like Ghost or like Alice Cooper with the stage show and all the props and stuff, but we are on the kind of DIY like level, and to me that's kind of where I kind of personally am like a little bit more just with like the creative aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because I love like movies like Evil Dead.
So good.
And like Return of the Living Dead, like yeah, they had budgets, but they weren't like big budgets, and they had to be creative with how do we do the special effects? How do we do a geyser of blood? And there's so much DIY and creativity going into like making those things that's a kind of creative aspect that I'm trying to figure out with like Dead Alive itself. Is like, okay, what can we do? How can we make it look better and stay on the budget that we are on?
So sick. And like when you're talking about Peter Jackson analogy, I think we talked about too, like the Frighteners. Like I look at that as like that was that next, right? That was that gateway. That's when you knew the budget was changing. That wasn't a huge movie, but he just tamed down the gore. I love that movie. I'm a sucker for that movie. I know it's not. You can pick that movie just like Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness is my favorite of the Evil Deads, and I will not watch an Evil Dead without Bruce Campbell. I need my Ash in them. I haven't seen the new ones. I heard they're good, and if people like them, that's sick. That's awesome. I'm sure there's younger people that's all they know, and they'd rather that than Ash. But that guy, I model my life. That's why I'm a scumbag, because of him. That's the reason. When they had that series on Stars, that first episode, when he puts on his hand and he goes to the bar and he's nailing this chick and he makes up a story, how he lost his hand in it. That is the funniest shit. Space trucking while they're doing it in the bathroom, and I'm pissing. That was one of the saddest things for me, though, when that series ended. I was so upset because it just ended out of nowhere. There was no closure, and but the way. I get what you're talking about. That is what you want. You're bringing the metal. That those movies are bringing the horror, but you're bringing the fun. You're not taking it too seriously. That part. When you take horror too seriously, sometimes it gets a little whatever. Sorry, my little trouser snake here. I keep it for the ladies. Is always on call. But the vibe you bring with it, and you're taking those movies, and you keep, like you said, you're leveling up each time, and you're going to get to each level of that. And it's like, you look at an Alice Cooper thing in like 1968 before he had the budget. It was crazy the shit he was doing, right? They're just getting by. You're already going above that. You really are. You could see the effort. You could see the stage show. You could see the different effects you're bringing in. And like I said, it's only a matter of time. And it's so glad to hear you getting out of your nest, of your safe place of Tennessee, and just getting out there now. You're getting to Texas. Did you say was it Louisiana, Mississippi, or?
Yeah. So we're the Thrashville territory that starts on May 8th, and we're hitting we're starting in Memphis, Tennessee on May 8th. Then we're doing Jackson, Mississippi, Houston, Texas.
Nice.
That show I'm really excited about because Labyrinth is on that show, and so when we hit them up, they were like, they wanted to take over the organization, and it went from just like a normal like one night show to like a festival for like this guy's like 30th like birthday and stuff. So there's like 8 bands playing.
Sick.
It should be like a huge show. Really excited about that one. And then after Houston, we're going to San Antonio. with Powerhouse and Mortal Desecration. We're going to Austin, Texas with Savage Blade and Bloodhammer. That
Nice.
one's I'm pretty excited about. The guys in Savage Blade have been fans of Dead Alive since like the beginning.
So
I'm,
sick.
like, excited to meet those guys.
Yeah.
Because they're also like 18 or they're young, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited to see like what they're like working on, what they're doing. And then we're going to Fort Worth, Texas, and that one's kind of like a personal big show for me because like my best friend that I went to elementary school with, middle school, high school, the guy that got me into metal,
So
that
sick.
I dedicated our first album to. He lives down there, and so I'm finally able to like bring Dead Alive to him, and he's been like watching it over like social media for over the years, and every like we text every now and then and, like for each other's birthdays and
Yep.
stuff, and I'm always just like, man, I'm gonna get down to Texas one day, and it's happening. So that show I'm really excited about. Then we're going to Jonesboro, Arkansas, and then St. Louis, Missouri, Louisville, Kentucky, and we're heading back down to Nashville.
So
for
sick.
like the end of the tour, which is gonna be really fun.
So sick. Great bands, great places, great venues. Great that you're getting out there. That is so great to hear. And all these markets, I can tell you when I do live sometimes, there's metalheads there. I got my Metal Arkansas people. They fucking always go in there. Metal Arkansas in the house. We got people from fucking Kentucky. We're all out there. We just got to find each other. We got to support the scene. We got to make shit happen for everybody. And that's what it's all about. And getting out there is the biggest thing. The courage to say, hey, I got a lot of responsibilities. I got to figure this shit out. How long are you going to be on tour for?
So it's going to be 11 days. We
Yep.
have 1 day off.
Damn.
But we're doing 10 shows in those 11 days.
That is crazy. I don't. So you're doing a month or two of shows in 11 days. Like, people need to understand the passion that takes and commitment to the band. Where you're like, we're all in. We're going all in. He's packing. That's Alice Cooper level shit, right? That's the only guy that tours like every day for his whole fucking life. That is an insane commitment to go do and just fucking keep yourself mentally sane, physically in good shape, to know that you got to go through that every night. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, there'll be crazy shit. I think we talked last time too, is like, dude, first of all, how are you handling that? That's psychotic. And number two, how are you going to handle coming back to the real world? That's the toughest part. Dealing with all these shithead managers and everybody. What is going on here? I just want to party. I want to watch this guy play fucking metal, and I want to yell Slayers. How are you going to handle this?
The band is like the dream, right? I would love to do that full time, all the time. We did a weekender recently where we played 3 shows, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Sick.
And after like all that, I was, because I do extreme vocals.
Yeah, you do.
And I was partly worried, was like, am I going to like wear out on this
Yep.
tour? But after those 3 days, I was fine. I was
Sick.
absolutely fine. The thing that got me was flu season happened, and then I was on my ass with
Yep.
the flu, right?
Yeah, same.
But like vocally, like I've figured out just what my vocal performance style is.
Yep.
Something I can keep up with. And yeah, so like the performance aspect, that's just gonna be fun. That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
The organization and the kind of the leadership of it.
Yep.
Kind of just feels normal to me because
Nice.
So another little like personal backstory for myself is I used to be in Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout, and part of like that whole like period of my life with like they're like these roles in Scouts called like the patrol leaders and senior patrol leaders, and they're in charge of organizing like camping trips and the events and getting the dozen or more like other like kids like the information that they need to be ready for whatever activities we're doing, wherever it's camping or kayaking or canoeing or whatever, right?
Yep.
And I was in the leadership role for like 5-6 years of like Boy Scouts until I like graduated and got Eagle Scout. So like doing the band stuff, like I just feel like prepared just to do all this because like I've been doing this for years. But whether it's like Boy Scouts or like school, like you'd be surprised about how much organization like skills that you get just from like school, right?
Yep.
And I have a music business major, so my specialty is a little bit more specialized in music. But like this, it just feels like just another day, another thing to do. I'm just excited to travel, honestly. Just
Sick.
go out there and meet the fans have been like asking us to like come
Yep.
out there. We have a bunch of fans from Texas, like aside from my friend
Yep.
like out there, that been asking us to come down there. And then like after Texas, I'm hoping to also maybe do one or two more like semi big, not as long, but like
Right.
maybe like 4 or 5 days in Florida kind of thing, or go and do an extended weekend going up to like Michigan.
Yeah.
I want to try try to do that distance as well this year, while also trying to hit up like the closer markets like Chattanooga, Knoxville, Huntsville, Alabama, like the stuff that's a little bit more easier
Yeah.
than like a 1 day kind of like trip. And so it's just a lot of skills that I've been preparing myself for a long time, and right now I'm just like, this is just what it is. This is what you gotta
Sick.
do. If I was a bigger band, it would be the same thing. If I was working tour manager for
Right.
another band, it'd be about the same thing. It's just organization
Yep.
and being prepared.
And that's
Boy
the
Scout motto: always be prepared.
and it's true. It helps you so much with everything. It keeps you calmer. It's not cool to just go wing all this shit, guys. You may hear people like, I fucking live free. I live my... That's a stupid way to think. You got to plan this stuff out. It's serious. You're passionate about it. It's something you really care about and you're doing and you're accomplishing. And you just keep going. And just look at this. Even when we talked at the Bonanza, you could see the growth from you from then to now. Like you could see, I remember some of our conversations and it's like, we're all the same, right? We start looking at stuff like, can I do this? Is this going to, and here you are now. This is so nice to see. This is so great to see you making it all happen. Cause I knew it was gonna, I knew the second I met this fucking guy. I'm like, this guy is built to be out there, to be on the road, to be making these connections. And that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing for bands, again, for influencers, for whoever you are. It's not going to change till you get out there. You have to get out. I learned that. Metal Horror Madman, I'm a spectacle now at fucking shows. I'll be embarrassed with myself if I'm not causing a scene and making people go, who's this fucking guy screaming Slayers and thrash? You've got to get out there, and just like you, they got to meet you. They got to go see, this guy's fucking cool as shit. This guy appreciates you coming out here, and you make those connections. But imagine if you don't. Imagine if it's a year where you're just like, we're just going to stay local. That's what we're doing. And like, only so much growth will happen if you don't get out there. And once you get out there, and the connections are huge too. Meeting these other bands and management and venues, everything's different in person. I try and tell this to everybody. I'm like, emails, texts, it's easy for people to say no to you, right? It's easy for you to be a dick, for them to be a dick. When you're face to face, you build those like here, me and you, right? We talked very briefly, maybe over talk or something. We wouldn't have this connection now. Like, I'd do anything to help this fucking guy. I love Dead Alive. I believe in the product. I believe in him. He's a good fucking guy. They're rare in the scene. Hey, everybody, let's not all be scumbags all the time, At least lie and pretend you're fucking cool, some of you. And there's a lot of great people, I'm kidding, but there's some good and bad, and that's another thing where it's great when you meet people in person. Then you really know what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, who has your back, who's jealous. There's a lot of jealousy in this scene. There's a lot of people that are bitter, and the best way to do it is do what you do. What I do is I'm worried about my product. I want it to be the best it can be, and I want to have fun. That cliche, I got to be having fun. If you're not having fun, and I'm not one of those people that goes, if you're not having fun, quit. No, figure out how to have fun. Like, if it's your passion and you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong, right? You're doing it wrong. You're going to have stress. You're always going to have stress. Guys, it's a stressful thing to travel alone. Forget even performing. And all I've done is announce bands on stage. You're playing full fucking sets, right? So our levels of stress are a lot different. I can fuck up and not care. I can back like an asshole up there. Everyone's going to cheer it, do whatever. You got to be on. And even at the Bonanza, there was some little hiccups here and there, and it was just great to see you and other bands, and everyone's just like overcoming it. And Eric from Bongnator, who runs it, that guy's a fucking beast. I stand next to him. I look half his fucking size. I'm like, hey, big brother, how's it going? Can't even fucking see how high he is. But you meet these people and watch all of us overcome our struggles and make things happen. And when you talked about Michigan, I was just thinking also the Bonanza, self-absorbed. Love me some self-absorbed, D-Vicious. They gave the Madman a fucking Slayer shout out on stage. I lost my shit. Avowal, great sludge band. These are great bands up there, too, to get to meet. They all love playing. They know the house shows. They know the bigger shows, the venues. And you're only going to find that out by getting up there. And it's like, you're out there, you're making the connections. You're touring, you've got merch, you're putting out albums, you're doing while balancing everyday life. Balancing, right?
Yep.
And
balancing life, work, relationships, and just the sanity of whatever bullshit the news throws in our faces all the time.
The other thing, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up too, because it's like, I've just got to unplug. I don't want to hear it from anybody anymore. And I don't want people going like, you're not believing in causes. I'm believing in causes. The way I believe in your mom's fucking bedroom. Just relax. It's all fun to me, okay? Be a good person. What I found out through all this, for some reason now, for the rest of our lives, we're just going to everyone's going to argue about politics. That's it. It's horrible. It's toxic. It's not healthy. No one has solutions. Everyone has problems. I'm solution-oriented. I'm not going to ever just sit around and cry and complain. I'm going to do what I need to do to make it happen like you do, and I'm going to be kind to people, which you're very kind to people. And that's a good quality to have, because no matter... Guys, every 4 years, there's going to be an asshole, okay? And half the country's going to like this asshole, and they're all assholes, guys. No one's got your best interest. I don't know how to tell you this. You can come at me. I don't know what the fucking... I'm not saying it's one party. I'm just saying they're all assholes, and they don't have your interest at all. Dead Alive has your thrash interest, your thrash and horror interest, and they are out there performing and giving you a quality show every time and having a good time. As far as you said, how was it making that last album? What was...
So with this last album, our writing process is a little unique compared to like a lot of other bands I've just kind of like casually talked to about on the topic of like writing. I'm the main like creative lead in the band, and I always start with lyrics first.
Okay.
I'll usually have like some kind of melody in my head associated with some like verses or the chorus or the hook or whatever. So that's always kind of like playing in the back of my head, but I'll write out the lyrics first, because the albums that I want to put out are concept albums. They're concept albums about monsters and the themes surrounding the monsters. So the first album was about skeletons. This last album is about mad scientists. And so I already knew that the second album I want to do was about mad scientists. Frankenstein is one of my all-time favorite like gothic horror like stories.
So
I've
great.
read it like 9 or 10 times.
Wow.
And I love the movies. I love the visuals. One of the like earliest exposures I had to in the horror realm was watching Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks movie with like my uncle and my
Dude,
dad
that's one of my top ever movies. When they do Putting on the Ritz, I will watch that part. I will rewind that part 1,000 times. That is some of the funniest shit. And then Roll in the Hay. Every fucking line in that movie is just executed so... Sick.
Like Igor is iconic. The Abby Normal scene.
Yeah.
Gene Wilder. So when my hair is shorter, I look a lot more like Gene Wilder.
Nice.
And I just, he's an amazing actor, and just like my early exposure to the iconography around Frankenstein was in a horror comedy of Young Frankenstein.
Nice.
And when I was also writing the majority of that album, I was in college, which, like, I was kind of already forward thinking with that, because Victor Frankenstein in the original story, he was in college in Geneva and he dropped out. And,
oh wow.
He's going through his crazy, like, life stuff. So, like, to me, there was always like because when you're creating stuff, you want to kind of pull from personal experience in some kind of way, and to me, when you're in college or you're in your early 20s trying to figure out like life, that is a time of madness.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to understand, and sometimes things don't make sense, and you get really confused. And so the madness of Dr. Ludwig von Brain Matter pulls a lot from my experiences in college, experiences of writing that first album, like the creative aspect, as well as like I was in a long-term relationship that was not good. It was we just got married too like young, and it was you know like it was just not a good relationship.
Yep.
So a lot of the emotional weight from that is in the album. But
Okay.
like any good horror story, you kind of hide it in layers, where you have like the outward story, the metaphor that you're trying to talk about, and then the bottom layer is what in my life was influencing the lyrics behind Hollow Man or Reagent or
Yeah.
No Signs of Life. Like, and I pull a lot of imagery lyrically from horror movies and like just horror in general. I like Lovecraft. There's our song Reanimator is heavily inspired by the Reagent is heavily inspired by the Reanimator movies. We have a song called From Beyond, which is mostly inspired by the movie, but that movie is like a extended adaptation of the short story.
Nice.
So like I watched the movie, I've read the short story, and then I had like my own personal experience that I was able to extrapolate and write out like the vision of that song. So we got a lot more prepared for the studio. We had all of the instruments written, we had all the lyrics written, we knew how everything was going to go. We had a very small budget. We had about $1,000 to record with.
Wow.
Because that was all the money that we had made from those like first 5 Dead Alive shows that we did in
Yep.
like 2023. So we got connected with a guy named Jeremiah Scott. He's from a band called Demon Hunter. He's done like studio stuff for like I think Judas Priest on this last one. He did the drum recording. He's like the drum recording engineer for that one. And he was like his day rate was like $500, right? So we had 2 days to record 10 songs. And that morning I was like, stretching for that first morning, excited to go into the studio, and I kinked my neck.
Oh.
And so the entire recording process, I was in an immense amount of pain. Had like a
Damn.
patch on it,
Yep.
pad, and I'm there like, playing guitar for 8 to 12 hours a day. By the end of that, I had like blisters all over my fingers.
Shit.
Most of the tracks though were done in 1 or 2 takes
Wow.
for each of the instruments. So all the drums we did in about 1 or 2 takes. I think there might have been a punch in here or there. But get all the drums out of the way. Then we went to guitar, and I got all the guitar out of the way. The one song I didn't play guitar on was Exhumed, which was written entirely by Man Thing. So I was just like, Man Thing, you're gonna play that. You do that one, because I'm already like rubbed raw on my fingers for everything else.
Damn.
I had to do some of the solos at home on like my home studio, and just like send Jeremiah like the stems and stuff. But everything was like live amps, live drums, in the studio, old school style. Bass, we did vocals. I had to do like a catch up day on vocals, so that was like a little bit another added expense, but just knocked everything out. Then everything went to mixing. After mixing, I sent it over to another friend of mine named Davey Oberland. He has like a synthwave project called All the Damn Vampires. He's done some like collabs with Avenged Sevenfold and Black Veil Brides recently. And I wanted to have some like synthwave stuff on the album, because that's kind of becoming a trend in death metal right now. Bongnator does a lot.
Yeah.
But like that kind of like John Carpenter, Stranger Things kind of vibe.
Dude, it's so sick. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And so he added like the synthwave stuff on the album. He did the mastering.
Yeah.
And then like in some songs, I wanted some like cinematic effects, like chains being pulled, like machinery like whirling up, and so he added all of that. And we got the final product. The artwork was made by this guy named Dan Goldsworthy. You've definitely seen his stuff like everywhere. He does stuff for Pull the Plug Patches, bunch of bands. He's done stuff for Corpse Grinder, Ice Cubes, like Body Count, Glory Hammer, Ailstorm. He's like the metal album artist of like modern day. He has like a style that's reminiscent of like Ed Repka with like, you know, make those early Megadeth albums.
Yeah.
Or, like, Death. I'm a huge Death fan. I'm a huge Megadeth fan. He also kind of has like a Derek Riggs kind of vibe as well, who did like the Iron Maiden and like Eddie.
Yep.
And so like me being like like having the theatrics, the kind of like campiness of it. I wanted to have like, you know, the kind of the mascot, and the mascot's just me, but
Sick.
skeleton. And so I hope to keep using him for like future albums.
Yep.
And you know, like singles and stuff. I'll, you know, I like to support art, and so I've been finding like other like artists and, you know, getting them to do like a single art here, maybe a shirt design there, just
Yeah.
kind of like support the art, because, you know, we're all in this art and entertainment game together.
True.
We gotta support each other, and, you know,
Yep.
like, pass the money around. So yeah, we finished recording the album. We put it out. We filmed the entirety of the album release show where we played the whole thing front to back. And so we're gonna release that later this year. We
Sick.
have some exciting stuff planned for that as well.
Nice. Yeah, and let me know. You know the Madman loves to share your stuff, and maybe we'll figure out some collabs and stuff like that as well. I was gonna ask you with Oli Hart, have you ever been up to Salem at all in Massachusetts?
I haven't been to Salem.
You got,
but
dude. You
I'd
would
love to go.
You would be the king of fucking Salem. You've got to get to Salem. I love that city. I know I have some friends up there. There's a great place. They do every Halloween, the whole month, they do an outdoor flea market. Creep and Death Designs. You'll see me hanging out with them a lot at festival. I was hanging out at the New England Death Metal Fun Don Bonanza. Sick people. They're all into the same shit. You know, thrash metal we love. They love goth. They love horror. The Blackcraft cult store with the giant witch hanging out. I go to all the cheesy haunted houses because they have a sick Frankenstein, Boris Karloff like to a T, a Mothman, Stranger Thing. I love the cheese. I dropped a fucking Slayer in there one day, scared the shit out of everybody, made me very happy because I'm all about myself. But you are so, it would be like such a cool thing, even if you went off season and did some stuff up there, like some filming for Dead. I could see you making some sick videos in those old, even the graveyards up there and just all these historical places, dude. And it just got like you written all over it. And hearing that the synth stuff is so sick to be hearing right now. Like, I'm glad you're into it. Definitely Bonginator. Bonginator Eric lives for that shit. I know he just put out a video recently. You're doing more of that. And I love it. I love all that stuff. I love to hear, because I get myself, I'll be dancing in a crowd, and then we all just start fucking moshing and killing each other. So it's a nice little, you're like, hey, it's like limbering up. It's like Zombieland. I got to limber up, rule number, whatever fuck it is. And all these fun, that was a movie. When that movie opened and I heard For Whom the Bell Tolls going, I was like, holy shit, this is my type of shit right away. You know, an old comedy. Love all that stuff just like you. It's just really great to hear how you just keep moving forward with this stuff. Instead of letting setback, you know, your neck was bothering you. Hey, you only have X amount of money for a budget. You're going on tour. You got to squeeze everything into 2 weeks. You're a role model for all the bands that need to see to get to where you're already accomplished so many great things. And every time you get on tour, it's a matter of time before I see you up here in Massachusetts at one of the, it's going to fucking happen with you. Like, it's all good. You'll be in that leg of it, a Northeast thing. And just, you got to keep just fucking bringing that thrash. Like, guys, I am telling you, you listen to the albums and go see them if you can. Go see him to experience the full theatrics of this show and the passion and the heaviness. And I wanted to ask you real quick also, who are your biggest metal influences? Where do we hear Dead Alive coming from?
So, a lot of Dead Alive comes from a handful of bands. We play various styles from like thrash metal. Thrash metal is our main like base.
Yep.
But there's old school death metal, there's doom metal, there's black metal. So I mean and it's a little bit of everything, but the main ones for me would probably be Death, Slayer, Megadeth, the Misfits for like the horror punk edge. Then there's also like Black Sabbath, Candlemass, Dope Smoker.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like black metal, I'm huge into like Karak Engren. They're from the Netherlands.
Yep.
My Dutch boys represent.
Nice.
And then I like Cradle of Filth. I
Same.
like Mayhem.
Yep.
Just crunchy, black metal. some Venom, you know.
The best.
But there's another band that that I'm gonna be a little secretive about this because
Okay.
I'm planning on doing a project about it for later this year. But they're a local band that has been on a hiatus for about 33 years.
Damn.
That no one knows about. Like
Wow.
I'm talking like when I found out about them, they had like 1 monthly listener, and it was me.
Shit.
And I'm planning on doing something really cool later in this year relating to that band, and assuming everything goes well
Yep.
with the plans that I have. That's a band that that didn't initially influence Dead Alive, but since I've like found out about them,
Yep.
I've kind of had like a kindred like creative spirit with this
Sick.
band, and so I'm kind of looking at going in and at least testing some waters in that creative direction. So yeah, some other quick ones like King Diamond's Merciful Fate.
The best of the best. I'm a massive
Alice
fan.
Cooper.
Massive, as you know. Yeah. So sick, dude. That is fucking and it's that's the thing where you get, you know, you watch a King Diamond too, right? And you watch out, and it's the thing you love about those bands. Because as we know, there's sometimes bands that it's just stage show and no quality music, or it's quality music and a stage show doesn't exist. Those bands are equally masters at both their craft. You go to an Alice show, you love the sound, you love everything you saw on stage. King Diamond the same way, the complete package, and that's Dead Alive also for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then some other like more modern bands
Yep.
that I really love are like Necrogoblicon.
So good.
I've been a fan of them since 2015 when I started working on the Skeleton album.
Nice.
And then Ghoul. I'm a huge Ghoul fan.
I hate when there's death in the
their
swamp.
combination
That's
of,
what Ghoul taught me.
Yeah, just like that. I grew up on surf rock.
Sick.
From like my dad's music.
Nice.
And their combination of surf rock and
Yeah.
thrash metal and death metal with some grindcore kind of stuff, just like
Yep.
it gets me. Dungeon Bastards is a perfect album, and I love it. It's so good.
So fun. That's a band, like, it's brutal, like you want to break something, but then you're having fun. Like, I want to start dancing with that music. It sounds weird, and I find that with some metal bands, people think I'm crazy, but I'm like, once you get that groove, you start feeling it a little different. You know, you just feel the sound of that a little different, and you want to have. That's a great band to have as an influence. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe those are all the influences I can think of
Sick.
right now.
Yep.
But I mean, overall, I
Yep.
love metal.
Nice.
I love power metal.
Yep.
I love metal across all genres, pretty much. The only thing that I really miss out on is like metalcore and deathcore.
Yep.
That's, the hardcore stuff just doesn't do it for me.
Right.
But everything else is just like I have a hard time saying that like bands suck. Just because like
Same.
You know, creativity is creativity, and it's
Yeah.
like there's so much sick shit out there.
Yep.
It's like I can really only judge it on either like a performance, like live, like if they suck live, they suck live,
Right.
or you know maybe there are some issues with recordings, and it's like, but I mean overall, music is good, and I like.
And that's the thing. If you don't like a genre, like I have certain genres I'm not a big fan of, I just don't listen to them. Like I'm not gonna put the bands down. We know what they're going through, and that's what we need in this scene. That unified front. They're after metal all the fucking time. This genre is on the ropes nonstop. Every decade, it's ups and downs. It's hot again. It'll crash again. It's just the way it works. But it won't crash with Dead Alive out there, and we've had the can out here fucking thrashing and acting like a lunatic on stage and bringing the most quality fucking metal. Your jank-ass grand fucking pappy with his metal replacement hip, that's not metal. This is metal right here. What else is in store 2025 for the mighty Dead Alive?
So we're gonna be releasing a couple singles this year. And some covers as well, relating to that mysterious band I was talking about earlier.
Yep.
So we're putting out about 6 songs this year, just spread throughout.
Yep.
And the main focus is touring and then writing our next album. We just released an album.
Damn.
We gotta start writing on the next one, you know.
Well, and that's the old school thrash mentality, as we know. A lot of that's not around anymore, but that's the way it's supposed to be. This was great. Mm-hmm. I want to get to the next. Let's fucking go. I love it. That's sick to hear.
Hell yeah. So yeah, playing out in like various markets is the
Yep.
big plan this year. Just like, I mean, the Texas tour is huge, but then I also want to hit up Florida. I want to go to Michigan and Ohio and go to all these places where people are saying, come play shows here for us. I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it California maybe next year,
Sick.
not this year. But I want to get out there. I know the guy Jack from Practical Gore and Bonginator. He wants Dead Alive to come back up to New England, and I want to come up to New England.
Yeah.
Again, and like do some shows with those guys. And if Bonginator wants to, like, play shows and stuff, then gives a little Instagram message.
Oh,
but,
great.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, dude, so great. And Jack I had on here with Scissor Hash, his other band too, and like just a really cool fucking dude. And when I was up at the Middle East and I announced Frog Mallet on stage, which was so fucking sick. I had such a fucking sick time. And there was so many, it was a lot for me because like it was the first time I walked on stage and everyone just started fucking going nuts. I'm like, shit, you're doing something right, madman. You're not just a lunatic. And I got my little Frog Mallet fucking tattoo over here. I guess I'm going to have to start, as you keep doing this, Dead Alive tattoo is going to have to be in the back of my brain getting ready, right? I mean, you're committed. Once I see you're committed to the cause, that's all I ask of these bands. I know you're going to keep doing it. I don't want to get a tattoo and hear you quit fucking tomorrow because you guys are fighting over fucking Burger King and this guy doesn't like the fucking album design. Fuck those bands. I need commitments, and I will desecrate my body some more. And Dead Alive is going to have to be on the list, and I'd love for you to get back up to New England. And Eric's always doing something. Like they always got these festivals going on. They've got all these shows all the time. That guy just doesn't fucking sleep. That guy is the fucking beast of metal. That fucking guy's got so much fucking energy. I feel like I have no energy some fucking times. That's how much energy that guy has. Count, it's been a fucking pleasure. This third time's the charm, buddy. We got this episode on lockdown. Everything worked smooth. We're good to go. I'll be having you back on. I want you back on, if you don't mind, after the tour. That way,
totally
sick. I want to hear about everything. I want to hear every show, the ups, the downs. But I want to hear most about the ups because you're going to have a lot of ups, and I want to hear about playing those venues, meeting those people, the rush you're going to get. The biggest rush is going out of state, right, and going to these different places and having them come up to you, and you're like, holy shit, they know who I... It is the craziest feeling in the world to get, and you're going to feel that for 2 fucking weeks straight, dude. And I'm very proud of you. We had conversations up in Maine. You're delivering on everything you talked about. You're relentless. I'm always here. When you're in the Madman's Network, the Madman is here to help. That's what he wants to do. He's not looking for shit in return until you're, hit the big time and you're playing Giants in Gillette Stadium. I'd like free tickets. I don't think that's too much to fucking ask. But other than that,
oh, totally.
I don't want anything, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the band. I can't wait to see you again, however I figure it out, and also to hear more new music. And go see Dead Alive on tour. Follow them on social medias, Insta, TikTok, YouTube. They're fucking everywhere. They're like a zombie fucking apocalypse. Brains. They want more brains. And they fucking love to hang and chill. He'll spend time with you. Me and him are the same with you guys. We love to talk to you. We appreciate it. And I appreciated you coming on here today, man. And we've had a few episode issues. I really love you. I appreciate you. You let me know when something's coming out so I can promote it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And love you too, man. And thank you so much for having me on. And
you got it, dude. You got it. Man, that was flawless. That was great. This band, I like this band. I wrote it down so I don't forget who they are. Oh, I remember. Fucking Slash!